Good evening, my friends, and welcome to this episode of Healing Your Codependency. I'm Marshall Berkshire. If you're new to me, I help codependents, people pleasers, and perfectionists get aligned with their real worth, their purpose, and satisfaction so that they can create lives that they enjoy. That's the whole point here. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about one of the three phases that we navigate in healing our codependency. There are three specific phases we go through. My work is tailored to take you through each phase deeply and effectively so that you're creating and enjoying a life that's satisfying, fulfilling, brings you peace, brings you contentment, and is driven by an inward purpose that brings you alive in your world. And today's episode is about the first of those three phases. So those three phases we journey through: survival, healing, and creation. So here in the survival phase, this is where we all start first. Survival, we're codependent, we're people pleasers, we're perfectionists. We have the habits of avoiding the necessary conflicts in relationship to help things change. We blend or merge with others in order to feel a sense of completion, a sense of wholeness, a sense of worth. We people please in order to feel like we have connection and value in the world. We try to be perfect in order to gain approval, to gain safety, in order to prove ourselves as worthy of being lovable. And we invest a lot of time and energy in trying to become ideal to other people or trying to hide ourselves from other people, usually both. So the survival phase is all about you surviving. It's surviving the neglect, the abuse, the harm, the inconsistency, the chaos, or the lack of presence of individuals. It's all about, staying alive. And that's going to show up, again, in those classic codependent behaviors as well as anxiety. Anxiety permeates the survival phase because we're always in a vigilant state waiting for the next shoe to drop. We're dealing with paralysis. We're dealing with collapse or even depression in the survival phase. That's the expression of our freeze response there. We don't know what to do. We don't know when to do it. We're not sure if we should do it because we're trying to hedge against more harm, more abuse, more neglect. We're trying to bet on something that would get us some sense of safety, some sense of belonging, some sense of worth in our world. So survival is really about navigating the world from a state of fear and a state of negative, fearful anticipation. Along with that comes that shame. In the survival phase, our identity, what I call the root somatic identity, is shame. I am bad. I am unworthy. I am unlovable. I am defective. I am inadequate, are the expressions of this root shame identity. Or, well, I'd say some of them. There can be a lot of them with that. And the whole premise with this identity is, if I'm bad, then I can change me. If I'm bad, that explains why people behave the way they do towards me. If I'm bad, then I'm the problem, thus the solution. This is an internalization of other people's reactions and responses to us as though we are causing those reactions and responses. It's usually formed very, very early on in our lives, before we're even verbal. So it's largely somatic or felt. It's a sensation, it's feelings, it's images, it's impulses that feel like hide, run, be invisible, or sometimes I'm going to really fight for this, but I'm going to feel a lot of guilt for it. I'm going to ask for what I want, but there's a lot of shame and guilt behind it, or being a burden. Mentally, in our intellect, we're hearing the repeating loops of I'm not worthy, I'm bad, they don't like me, I'm too much, I'm too little. These are all expressions of the survival phase because we're in a state of trauma. We're in a state of fear and danger and a lack of safety, a lack of connection and belonging, and a lack of self-worth, as us in a very scary place at that point. So survival is where we all start. And in my work, the foundation course is what helps you start to move from survival to the healing phase. A little bit on the healing phase. Well, in the next video, we will have more on that. But the healing phase is where we start to unbecome what we've had to be to survive and start discovering who we really are through a set of practices and education and experiments to help us start to tap into, align with, and embody our true self. So foundation helps us make that happen. It's my 15-week experience. I guide you in teaching your body, how to build emotional safety, belonging, and independent self-worth. The whole goal with this course is to help you build enough capacity so it's safe enough to stop being codependent or stop fawning and start advocating for yourself and start knowing yourself and start becoming yourself. That's the whole goal. That's why it's called foundation. It's what is the premise in which all my other work is built on. That would be moving into the codependency healing system and onward to transformation, where you create the things you want in your world. It all starts here with foundation, because foundations gives us the three necessities that are missing from our survival practice. So in survival, we're trying to achieve three specific needs over and over and over. We're trying to feel safe enough, we're trying to feel like we belong, and we're trying to feel like we have worth. I call these things the three necessities, and it is the whole goal of codependency is trying to nurture these in a way that minimizes harm, minimizes the risk of discard and abandonment, and maximizes the potential of being loved, being seen, and being valued. Foundation will help you stop using codependency to accomplish this and start using our advocacy and our body's innate inborn ability to process what we have been through. So we start with emotional safety, where we learn how to help the body move through the energy of our experiences to start to process that emotional energy, which helps us feel safer, which also helps us build capacity. And with that combined, it allows us to start building social connection again. This would be communities, persons, and resources like people, places, and things that help us feel safer, that help us feel seen and valued, that we can lean on and rely on for support, for play, for intimacy, for care, for companionship in our world. That adds a little more safety to our world. And that third component is the discovery and then moving into the embodiment of our indomitable worth. That's our true independent self-worth. It's indomitable worth is independent of all conditions. And when our worth is freed from approval and from rejection and from being loved or from being unwanted, those kind of things, we gain a lot of our safety and a lot of our power back. And ultimately, we gain reconnection to our true self, to our intuitive brilliance that can guide us in creating things that we want in our world. So my friends, foundation is where we start in my work because it is designed to address the survival phase, which is where we all start from. Now, a lot of times people shame the survival phase. We have shame about it. We have guilt about it. We don't like it. It's a painful experience. It's something that we want to get out of. In my work, I encourage my students to turn towards their survival phase and give it a little bit of gratitude, a little bit of warmth, a little bit of acknowledgement that, hey, I was actually brilliant. This helped me get through this experience. This helped me accomplish the things I needed to get to this point in time so that I could begin to heal. See, the survival phase, while it is an embodiment of hell in a lot of ways for us, is not the enemy. It is where we had to do what we needed to do to survive. And when we apply gratitude, even praise and appreciation, and a little honor towards it, it becomes a huge asset for us rather than a burden, rather than something shameful, rather than something that we have to run from in order to feel like we're worthy, we're lovable, we're good. Instead, we embrace this phase for all that it is and all that we've learned through it and all that it has tried to do for us, even when it's failed to accomplish those outcomes. When I've approached my survival phase this way, it's helped me heal a lot of the shame and a lot of the remorse I feel over the failures that came out of my life or came into my life because of the survival phase. I'm no longer carrying those as burdens. I am now able to access lessons and wisdom that come through that, as well as feel gratitude. Hey, we got through it. It's not a permanent state. It's not something we will have to endure in for the rest of our existence. Instead, we're here. We're okay. We got through it. And now we can learn what to do instead so that we never have to go back through the survival phase in that way. Sometimes we go back to the survival phase if we're exploring a specific category of our life, maybe like romantic relationships or friendships or money or business. We have to go through our lived experience, our beliefs, our programming that's there, and then evolve it through the healing phase so that we can connect with our creation and our intuitive self in the creation phase. So my friends, that survival phase, it contains beliefs, it contains habits, it contains a lot of energy and emotions that we use to survive with. So sometimes we're using shame to survive, we're using anxiety to survive, we're using avoidance to survive, or control to survive. That's okay. Sometimes the beliefs in the survival phase is I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, people don't like me, people won't want me, there's not a future for me. These are understandable expressions of that shame identity being combined with the lived experiences you've been through. And so these conclusions show up that way. We don't have to fight these beliefs. Instead, we can turn to them and say, hey, no wonder I feel this way. Look what I've had to live with. Look what I've tried and tried and tried to make work in my life and haven't. No wonder I'm concluding that this isn't for me. That survival phase, it's important. It's important to care for it. It's important to validate our experiences in it and care for the pain that emerges. Now, if you want assistance with this, come join me in the foundation course. The information is below in the description on my webpage at healyourcodependency.com. You can begin to do this work with me and other students where we are restoring emotional safety for ourselves, restoring a sense of emotional belonging and resource in our life, and then connecting with and beginning to embody our independent self-worth. This allows us to move into that healing phase where we get to unbecome what we've had to be to survive and start to discover who we're becoming instead. So today, my friends, I want to leave you with a tool that will help you with the survival phase, and that is daily regulation. The link is in the description below, or you can get it for free at my website. You just go to healyourcodependency.com, resources, library. It'll be right there, daily regulation. This is the first step I teach all of my students in helping them bring soothing and ease to their body. So the daily regulation practice is a set of 5 steps that help you and your mind and your body connect with reality for a moment and ease down tension in a very titrated, very gentle, bit by bit way, so that it can become safer and safer to take risks, to make change, and to discover who you are beyond your codependency and beyond this survival phase. So that tool is available again in the description below or on my website at healyourcodependency.com. And the second thing I'd like to give you is a what shifts question that says, what shifts if I trust just a bit that my survival phase has been working for my well-being all this time? And allow that to settle in. Allow yourself to explore and understand what shows up there. Because we aren't at fault for this. Our survival phase is what we had to do to survive. When we give it a little praise, a little honor, it works in our behalf. So my friends, in my next episode, we're going to talk about the healing phase, what that looks like, its characteristics. I'll give you some tools to begin that process as well. And then we'll talk about the creation phase in the following episode. Basically, this is the 3 phases I lead you through to go from codependency to creating a life that you enjoy. That's what my whole work is designed to do, is to help you tap into your own brilliance, your own satisfaction, your own joy in your world, so you can go out and do things that you like. That's the whole point. So thank you again for being here, being a part of my world, being a part of my work. Let me know your thoughts and comments below, and share this video out to anyone that you think could benefit from it. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Thank you for listening via the podcast. And if you're on YouTube or on Facebook, nice to see you guys. Go gently with yourselves, and I will see you in our next episode. Bye-bye. Hey, thank you for listening to today's episode. Are you looking for additional guidance in how to exit your codependency and create a life that's satisfying for you? If so, come join me in my email community. You can do that by going to join.freetheself.com or checking the description below and clicking the link there to join that community. You will receive more mentorship and guidance from me on how to navigate the 3 phases of thriving beyond codependency, those phases being survival, healing, and creation, as well as opportunities to join my courses, workshops, and other trainings that I offer throughout the year. So come join us there, and I will see you in our email community.